shoot. I forgot the memory stick.
You have a memory.
You know, I was going to have us review the
Oh,
slideshow that they had put together for that.
one way back when.
Yeah,
That's the kind of stuff that should live.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
Yeah, Charlie dropped it off and I planned on taking it to hand it off, but it's sitting on the TV console, I believe.
hey, I got a question on that job description. That Lauren put out. In the job description, it sounds more like it's in office administrative work. But when Glenn spoke, it sounded like it was more municipal or
It's just gonna be a float.
is it like kind of just
A floater.
got it?
In the spring, shoulder season. With some. We need help all the time with getting parks ready.
Opening and closing everything, yeah.
Always be.
Yep.
And so if this person would be really helpful right in there, because usually. How we have it here. Usually don't have parks. With 3.
Yep.
people hired them, so you get behind
Yeah.
them, right when. People start coming, and some people come back. I hear a lot of complaints here. Kind of shabby. So that person will be able to help us there and in this September. Yeah. And they ready to shut down.
Mhm.
And in a hard winter. I don't know why I keep saying CS.
Cause there's all she's for the library.
Hi, John.
He's muted.
I've just been racking my brain with who.
He's muted, but he can hear us.
Well, this last short.
Yeah.
Hi, John. Hi, Jackie.
Mark Pass said he's gonna join on Zoom, but he'll be about 10 minutes late.
Your day, how was your day?
One day closer to retirement.
One day closer to Friday too.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm glad you survived it.
And me too. It's touch and go there for a while.
Slow this year.
What?
So it's been a little stressful this year. Lots going on.
Administration?
Yep.
Yeah, like more expectations, taking on new roles and
Yeah, cause you've got.
still having to do the same old other stuff. Where,
You got a big raise because you're doing.
oh, huge,
Skills.
man.
So,
Yeah, like Joe and I are gonna be
Yeah.
in the top tax bracket this year.
could be, keep it vague and it.
Well,
It's 5 o'clock. Should we call the meeting to order?
Still capable.
Tim Michael's joining us.
Well, then, if they were to do,
5 of us, I guess.
payroll specifically.
That's.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
Yes, hi, John.
Great. Hey,
Michael's there.
Hey, Michael.
Great. Let's call the meeting to order. It's 5:01. And if we could just go around with roll call. I'll begin. Lois Carlson,
Sam Dobson.
Kim Peters.
Jackie Noah.
Online,
Online is Michael Kuchka and John Nielsen, and Max Imholt is here from the town. Okay. So let's review we've got no public comment since we have nobody from the public here. Unless somebody on the committee wants to make a public comment. Then let's move to the minutes of the meeting to be approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 9th, 2025 regular committee meeting.
Okay, is there a second? Second. It's been a motion to approve the minutes has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I am
Let's,
abstaining since I wasn't here.
sure. Thank you.
Yep.
I had hoped to review some of the 22 and 23 documents that I received that were included on the memory stick, but I forgot the memory stick. My memory needs a memory stick. I forgot the memory stick at home. So we won't be able to review those items. And I will just say that having kind of being new to this committee, and there's been so much preparation that's already been done. I've been looking through and trying to figure out what the history is on some of these things. And we had some really nice home plans from a company. I think it was, I don't know what the company name was, but I think it was Lagum or was the name of the style of the house. And I don't know if anybody has background on that. And it looked like that particular company had done 3 different styles of layout for landscaping. Well, not so much landscaping, but the layout of the properties and what could be built. So I just don't have enough background on it to feel confident in leading us in trying to figure out what we're doing. And I truly believe that our discussion topic D, with unfinished business, I think we need to add next steps and really plan out what we would like to do to bring some plans to fruition and how to move forward. And I don't know, Michael, maybe you could just kind of give an overview since, you kind of have been with this from the inception, I believe, but how have we connected with WIDA? That was another thing I looked at today were some economic, I think they were called the pilot program, and it was done in Door County and Marinette County. And they had a lot of meetings. It looked like it was a very similar situation to what we have gone through with researching the community within the community and coming up with ideas. And after every topic, there would be, it said, we'll be, back to you on this date with the next steps. And they did all of this stuff until it came to getting something going. And then it just went dark on both places. So I don't know, is WIDA a source that has connected with us, that we've connected with? How, maybe.
Sure, I'll try to keep this short. And Jim, you've been around long enough that you can maybe correct some of my memory lapses here. But we've essentially been involved with WIDA, which is the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority. We've essentially been involved with them in 2 different ways. One is that Ashland and Bayfield counties were part of a pilot study for rural affordable housing. And the result of that was the check-built land trust, which I presume still exists. mostly in Bayfield as an organization. And the concept behind the land trust is to acquire land to build workforce housing or to acquire existing houses that people would donate in or sell at an extreme discount to be available for workforce housing. And the goal of any land trust is to you essentially sell it back to individual residents on the open marketplace. But the condition is that the land trust owns the land, the resident owns the house. There are pre-established formulas as to how much equity the resident, the owner will accrue on the property, what the rate of that accrual will be, and if and when the resident decides they need to leave, they get the equity out of the house, as it were, but they don't actually own the land, and so the land stays in the trust. The house essentially stays on the land in trust, and therefore you maintain affordability by not opening up the property to the marketplace in a full sense. So the resident gets a more affordable house up on the end. They don't acquire the equity they might on the open market, but then the land and the property remain affordable in theory into perpetuity. So that was the first way we were involved in the land trust. And Charlie and Jim and I were heavily involved. I believe Alex Nelson was actually the director that was hired. I don't know if I've been away, so I don't know how that is going, but so there's a lot of island connection to the trust. The other thing in which we were involved with WHEDA was to try to use WHEDA funding and WHEDA's connections in the development and finance communities to attempt to get a project going on the island. And many of you, even the newer ones, will recall that we've had contacts with more than a dozen different developers attempting to attract them to our project on the island. Most recently it was John and Charlie and I were at a summit that WHEDA assembled for a couple dozen different developers, and we were making pitches to them. Some of them expressed interest, but eventually none of them was willing to move forward in partnering with us to develop affordable housing on the island. WHEDA will always be there as a resource, at least for information, for connections, but it is not clear that WHEDA has really figured out how to do affordable housing in rural communities on a relatively small scale. The project that's going on in Washburn right now on Highway 13 is a WHEDA finance project. Jim, remind me of the name of the developer. We've talked with them numerous times. They actually thought at one point that they would be able to partner, team up that project with a project on the island and get some economies of scale and maximize the presence of a workforce in the same region. That did not happen, partly because of how finances changed after COVID. So those are our two connections with WHEDA. Kind of in the middle of that was the Maxfield Market Research Report we did, which established very clear targets for what they believed the island could absorb as far as different kinds of affordable housing, rental, year-round single family, and seasonal. So that's, that trying to implement those targets that were in the Maxfield report has really been kind of the centerpiece of how we have operated as a committee, up until several months ago when it became clear to us that at least in this economic environment or in this interest rate environment, there is no developer that can find a way to feasibly partner with us. And part of the problem is that, we're talking about maybe at most building 20 units at one time. And for most developers, they find that it's not financially feasible unless you're building, 40 or units or more. And so that's where we've run into the harsh realities of the marketplace in a different way. And that's why it's been difficult for us to figure out how to move forward. And because of those, the inability to partner with a developer, their inability to get tax credits that would help them afford these kind of developments because of the scale. That's why we started looking at manufactured and modular housing.
I had read something today in both the Door County and the Marinette. There were some kind of tax credits that came, and I believe that this might be the same program that Ashland had, but it sounded like they had a broader base of opportunities. They talked about purchasing housing and, in the land trust piece that you just mentioned. But I thought there were other, there was mention of bringing in builders and getting some kind of tax credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, the most common tax credit that developers use is called LIHTC. It's a low income something bond thing. But again, it turns out that those really only work if you can build to a certain scale. And many rural communities, including ours, just doesn't meet the minimum number of units that make it financially viable or logistically viable or both for developers.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. We've not been able to find any developers that want to work out here because it's such a small scale. The name of that company was Sinair.
Correct.
And that's a problem we've had from the beginning, trying to find somebody that would work out here, and we can't. So we're going to have to go a different route. I'm not sure what that's going to be. Do you hear anything back from Penelise?
Not, I wrote to her, excuse me, I wrote to her, inviting her to this meeting again. And I don't think she was able to attend. So I haven't had a response from her, but I'm sure that when she comes up with ideas that, she'll forward those to us.
Okay, because from what she presented at our last meeting, I believe that if we can come up, or if she can come up with a plan that's going to involve more than what we've talked about before, something that's going to be attractive to some investors, or it'll come up. I mean, just to throw it out there, if we had a development that was all solar, somehow reclaimed water, things that people feel good about doing, investing in a development that's going to do all these things. And I think she's got some ideas along those lines. And if we can tap into that and go with that, I think it might help us quite a bit.
Yeah, have you read about the tiny timber community in St. Croix?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things
Right.
I felt, attention to neighborhood really made it
Exactly.
above just building homes and that label of affordable.
Because our big problem has been, and probably will be until we finish and get going anywhere, is financing.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get anything through developers, tax credits, everything. We're just not that attractive for them to come out here. We've got to find a different way to finance this. and not through a developer. It's just not gonna happen.
Right. And so, I mean, essentially, when we started talking about modular and manufactured housing, you know, the reality, whether we stated it out loud or not, I don't remember, but essentially we were going to become our own developer, but that requires finding, you know, some seed money to get things built until we can start generating revenue, whether that's from housing sales or from rental income or whatever. So, you know, it seems that our only choice is to do it ourselves, right?
Has there,
And we've just never, you know, there's been a lot of work on what a site plan might look like, you know, what infrastructure we might need to put in. You know, obviously we've explored a number of different housing options from different companies that make modular and manufactured, you know, to now, you know, the latest focus on some version of tiny homes. But yeah, as Jim pointed out, we need capital in order to make any of those plans happen.
have we had any discussions with businesses on the island in terms of their ability to have employees? I mean, obviously Hartsel's the largest. But do we have any other way that we can engage businesses or that has been done perhaps before now?
I think all that's been done with businesses is they were interviewed when Maxfield did the study. And so they talked to businesses about what they thought was needed, but there hasn't been any direct contact between this committee and business owners on the island. One of the reasons was at one time, this committee didn't feel like they wanted to focus on workforce housing. They wanted to focus more on trying to have affordable housing for young families. And so it was kind of put on the back burner, thinking that if we could get this going for young families and such, that eventually we'd go to workforce housing. But maybe we should combine them and get maybe some input from the local employers and see if they would be willing to finance part of this. And I think your idea, Sam, that you had at the last meeting about having a community meeting, it's kind of a question answer, and to get more of the community involved in this and get some more ideas, and maybe something would come of it. I would think it would be better to do that.
Yeah, because you do have a lot of those people that fall into both categories, that are workforce year round.
Yeah.
And are family or wanting to create family. So the thing that's stopping them from creating family is the home. So
I think too, the beach club is a big employer of year-round employees too. And I know that they provide, you know, they've got, they have the, you know, the two entities, the compound on Middle Road and then the motel. But there are, I know that there are, I can think of a couple handfuls of folks that live off-site of those too, that do their own rental right now, you know, like couples. No one with children that I can think of off the top of my head, but you know, couple.
Well, some of those places might be a real challenge for people with children to live in.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. And
they don't really accommodate children in the places that exist. So
I mean, they're not
yeah,
super accommodating even to, yeah, like a mature person that wants, you know, I mean, like the motel, my kids live in the motel. I know what it looks like in there. It's a motel room. And it, you know, I certainly wouldn't live there if I was a mature person
But
with or
there aren't
without
many choices. There aren't many
children.
choices. That's
Yeah.
That's why
So
they're
that's I just wanted to bring up the beach club too, because you said the, you know, Hartsel, but I think that's might be even a bigger employer because of the year-round status too, and the stability. I think they're pretty consistent there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think,
Totally,
you know, the charge of this committee or the priorities given to this committee from the town board were to focus on year-round workers and year-round families. And the belief at the time was that employers, businesses should be responsible for their own seasonal employees, right? And the town would focus on year-round people and the businesses would focus on seasonal. Now, you know, that was several years ago and there's been a little bit of turnover on the town board and obviously time has gone and maybe, you know, maybe there's been some rethinking of what those priorities might be. Similarly, you know, the idea of having a community meeting, I know it's easy for me to say because I'm not there anymore, but I think that would be a great idea. We haven't really had, you know, a sit down meeting with, you know, with the workforce that would be the main beneficiaries of whatever we built in 3 or 4 years. And, you know, some of those people who were very active, you know, are gone. And so the newer workers, whether they have the same desires, challenges, what their preferences would be, is something that would be great for this committee to uncover, just to make sure that, you know, we are not outdated in our thinking of what we're trying to accomplish and actually serve people.
It's a great point, Michael. It could, if without some kind of a refresher for the study that we did, we could be running a little blind here, and we could be trying real hard to build something that they will not come. You know, so I think it's a good point. A good point. One of the other sort of common themes throughout the time that I've been involved here is we at the rate that the people that we are looking to house can afford to pay rent, we can't build anything without some source that pays down the capitalized cost of the new construction far enough so that the rent that the people that we're planning to rent to will cover the nut. So if something costs $200,000 to build and the rent that we can collect will cover the first 100, then someplace we have to come up with $100,000 per unit that nobody expects to get back. It needs to be a grant, either, I mean, we talk about grants, you know, coming from organizations or government entities, but you're changing the wording a little bit. It could also be a gift from somebody who believes that in order for this island to continue to exist the way it does and deliver the services that people that come to the island have come to expect, somebody's going to have to pay for it. And so that's one of the other challenges that we have been experiencing with the financial part of this. You know, we were offered the opportunity to apply for some 0% or 1% or a very low percent financing. But if we can't collect enough rent to cover the cost, financing will just put us in bankruptcy. So we do need to find a way to be able to pay down the cost of construction so that the amount left aligns with the amount of cash we can collect on a monthly basis.
think that's, all good information. To have.
You know, one thing that's kind of been an operating principle of the committee, at least over time, has been and Mark kind of used part of the framework, is that, you know, what we're trying to do is we need to figure out how much can people afford. And so what does that translate into a monthly rent payment or a monthly mortgage payment? And so then what dollar amount does that mean we cover from the cost of a living space, whether it's rental or ownership? And we know that building that unit is going to be some level of money over that. So let's say it costs $250,000. People could afford to pay the rent or the mortgage on something of $175,000. So how do we upfront cover that $75,000 gap once and for all? I mean, the goal has always been to kind of make this sustainable in the marketplace, so that it's a one-time subsidy, and then normal market forces, people pay their rent, people pay their mortgage, and it just supports itself on an ongoing basis. And so we've tried to stay away from the kind of Section 8 and public housing that, you know, exists to a small degree already on the island. But, you know, maybe we need to broaden that thinking. You know, I don't even know if Section 8 money is available anymore, but, you know, there's no essentially Section 8 housing outside of what the Ashland County Housing Authority runs. And so, you know, maybe that's
Section 8 housing.
It's,
you pay an X percentage of your income,
Oh, okay.
and then it's subsidized generally through federal money. But, you know, there are income limits on who can qualify for that. And we've always operated under the assumption that many of the workers and year-round people we'd be serving would make more than those income limits would allow for participating in Section 8. So we were trying to fill that gap for people who make too much money to qualify for public housing or Section 8 and don't make enough money to qualify for a mortgage in the open market.
Can I just throw this might be really crazy, but just let me throw it out there and then tell me what you think. So I'm thinking of, okay, if we're gonna, we have a certain amount, right? So we build a $225,000 dwelling. The people that are living there can only afford, you know, the $175,000 price tag, mortgage, rent. So if that's let's say if the loan for that is a 15-year loan, that at year 16, then that rent becomes profit, right? And could that money somehow go like into a trust or something for the entity that covers the difference between those two costs? Does that make any sense to anybody? Like,
You're trying to build into a pot, right?
yeah, and the money wouldn't be available for until, you know, like the mortgage was complete. But then at that point, then there's profit. So if the agreement was that then that money was put into a trust for the family that donated the $75,000 difference coverage, or
So you're saying that loan that you're talking about would actually be more of a donation, and you're waiting and hoping that at one point it's going to come back to you.
yeah, I guess so.
This whole financial thing, it seems to me that we need a financial person, somebody that knows a lot more about it than I do on how we can possibly do this. And they may come back and say, you have to go out and find $2 million from donations to get going. Then we know what we need to do. If they say somebody's got to have a better idea on how to do this, but we've been talking about this for I don't know how many years. And it always comes back to where are we gonna get the money to get this thing going?
What happened to the consulting company that was going to meet with us?
I think that
give us
was
their-
something maybe Charlie had,
That's, I asked that last meeting and they're,
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not
Okay,
interested.
okay.
So right now, I'm hoping that Penelise is going to be able to come up with something. I mean, she seems to be the best person in this group that's been contacted, that's gonna have some ideas on how to do this financially. So maybe we need to start spending more time listening to her or getting her ideas.
getting her involved.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very busy, so it's
Well,
constantly,
is there anybody
Good
else?
people are.
Yeah.
Well,
Is there
you know,
anybody local that we know?
So, I mean, I think,
we could
I
recruit?
think we've come to the realization that we're not going to get assistance from the normal developer and financial channels, right? I mean, there are different kinds of banks, quote unquote, that you could get from community benefit corporations, home loan banks. We've explored those to some degree or another, and they're, we just don't fit their model, right? And they are a more flexible model than if you were to go to Bremer or Old National, whatever they're called now, for example. So I think our reality is, as Mark said and Jackie has hinted at, I mean, we need to find benefactors. I mean, I think we hear that there are lots of financial resources on the island. I'm not fortunate to know who those people are, except for, maybe a few of the Ferry Line heirs. But, I don't know who these people are who have second and third homes on the island, right? And who might care enough about the island to put up that upfront money to get us to the point where we can build. And then, Jackie, to your point about loans, what I think would be more realistic way of this actually happening is we get benefactors to cover that gap, whatever that is, 50, 75, 100,000. And then the remaining money is what the rent and the mortgage pay for. So that's how we would pay off the loan, because we would essentially be we'd get paid mortgage money or rent money, and we'd be paying off the loan that covers what the benefactors don't cover. But, I think we're kind of backed into a corner that may be either our secret weapon or our only viable choice in the near future, is to find benefactors and come up with some sort of comprehensive way of sitting down and talking with them, or finding people who are part of those networks who support what we're doing and using them as conduits to get in front of these people and have these conversations.
So so if we identify these people, I mean, I have a couple of people off the top of my head that I was thinking of that I'm not personally associated with, but, I happen to know, like, who built their house or how much, or, or how many other homes or whatever, that they probably would be an avenue, and maybe a supportive of this kind of idea. But I have no idea how to approach that kind of a.
Well, and
it
it's,
seems like we need to start
General-
putting the information out into the community,
That's like-
whether it's a flyer in a mailbox, but just something explaining what we're doing as a committee, what our mission is, who we're trying to help. Keeping it vague, but like, we need these people to be aware
Yeah.
on a basic level of understanding. And then, I mean, otherwise we can't, where do we start otherwise? If they have
That's what I think.
no
We just start
awareness to
putting
what we're
that.
doing. So in my mind, the quickest way is June rolls around, you put a flyer out in the mailboxes explaining what's going on, and we start bringing these people into conversation, and we have these info sessions, and we start talking to investors and people who would be living in these and the construction companies that would be building them.
Yeah, I mean, it is,
Otherwise, we're not, like, we're just,
Well, I
Yeah,
think we
really.
have, we have the basis of that kind of information. I mean, when John and Mark and Charlie and I went to talk to developers, we had, that kind of one-page presentation. And so all the core information is there. I think we might need to tweak it, obviously, for whatever the specific approach is going to be, but I think we know in general what we're trying to accomplish.
right, but the rest of our community doesn't.
No, exactly. But
So
what I'm
I
saying
feel
is we
like,
don't need
let's
to
get
start.
that piece of
Yeah, we
paper
don't
in
need to
as many
start from
hands as
scratch,
we
though.
can.
Yeah, we don't need to start from scratch. We have the
Yeah.
core piece there. It's just a matter of updating it or reformatting it or whatever. So,
Well, and I think if we're gonna have a piece of paper, we need to clarify what information we have and how we would want to proceed.
Well, that's why you having the zip drive, like, let's really go through this and pull out
Yeah.
the most pertinent information that covers all the bases, like this document that existed at one point with bullet points. I mean, let's update it.
The
What
the
Michael just said.
Maxfield.
No, what he just said, that they have this page of
When they went
basic
public.
information
So
that they
what-
would use to go and speak with people.
That
Like, let's
was-
pull that out
I
and
don't
let's,
believe that was on no.
okay.
It was something you'd have to get from Michael or.
I'm sure I have that sitting around. John
Yeah.
probably has it too, but I can share it with the committee once I find it on my flash drive.
I mean, I won't swear to it, but I don't recall seeing anything like that.
Mhm.
Some of the old studies and so forth, and there weren't that many documents on the drive. I want to say maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, a real information heavy.
I feel like what we need to, that information, get that all and get it all in front of us and have us all sit down and maybe it's instead of just an hour meeting in a month, maybe we on a Saturday,
It's a work group.
we have like a work group, yeah, like a 3-hour where we sit down and we're able to go through it and we decide, we pull out the pieces. What do we want to present to the public?
Yep.
What do we want to present to them on the flyer, in the Gazette, and in a public gathering forum?
And if we do it all, with a plan and at the same time, within a time frame, like, we can bombard the community with this information on all the ways. And there's, it's momentum, and we need the momentum.
Yeah, I feel like just doing that, like, next month in an hour probably isn't gonna work, and.
No, I think we do have to be strategic about it. You're really starting a campaign, a fundraising campaign in a way. And, there's methods for that, and that's the kind of stuff that Petalise would be helpful for because she's done it before. But we can figure it out.
Well, and maybe it could be a day, I'm thinking like a 3-hour block to start with, and on a day when she could be present, and I don't know what everyone else's schedules are. I think it seems maybe flexible. I'm not sure what Michael's job is now, but,
Well, I was thinking too that perhaps December, just because our meeting falls kind of mid-December with all the activities going on, that maybe we just look to January and maybe we use December as a individual, study opportunity and then come in.
like, could you
Okay.
send us
Mhm.
the zip drive information, and then that would be like the expectation is that in lieu of December meeting, each member would review all of that information and then have our January meeting be like a Saturday and come in prepared with ideas on that.
Do we want to get Penelise involved in the first meeting that we have to go
Mhm.
over
Yeah.
stuff?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, like, so that like January
Yeah.
workshop meeting, I think so. So
okay.
try to plan it around her
Yeah.
schedule.
Has anybody spoken to Penelise specifically about her wish to be involved since the last meeting?
I haven't talked to her since I emailed her and invited her to this meeting a couple of days ago, and I didn't get an email back. But I'm sure she's got a lot of stuff going on, and I had asked her in the beginning if she would be interested in joining the committee, and she felt that she was too busy, that wouldn't be a good fit for her right now, but she said she'd be happy to help out however she could. So if I can check with her and see what date in January, and specifically, we're kind of looking at a Saturday.
Or even if she's
So-
not like physically able to be in the room with us, just giving us some of her knowledge, like sharing some of her resources that she uses. Maybe there's a method she uses, or,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like,
She'd have to Zoom, I mean, but
right, but I'm just saying, like, if she's difficult to get in the room, like,
Yeah.
she's got all this knowledge, it's written down somewhere. Like, if she can just share bits with us as we're going through this, and if maybe we can give her an understanding of what we're working on and say, if you can give us a bit of information that falls in line with that, that would be helpful, because I don't want us to start getting backed up waiting for penalties.
Yeah.
Because that,
And I think that, so Lois and everybody else, the answer to my question is no. Nobody has spoken to her since our last meeting about
giving out all
Correct.
her wish to be involved.
correct.
So since the beginning of the meeting, there has been numerous times when we referred to her involvement as being our next step. And I think before we put all that on her and focus our hopes and dreams on that whoever has the closest relationship with her probably should talk to her and ask her bluntly, do you have time and do you have interest, and will you be involved?
The conversation I had with her, and I didn't really meet her until late in the summer. And then somehow we made this connection about the affordable housing, and I just joined the committee. And she made a point of saying that she wanted to be involved. That was something that she felt she could help with. And so I definitely know that the interest is there. It's just trying to find the timing so we can work together.
I feel like, can we explore other individuals too, that maybe have like that fundraising experience? And I don't know who they are, but if anybody else does, maybe they would be willing to maybe not be a member, but consult with us every now and then.
We can,
Well, if we do have this community meeting, that's one thing we could bring up there. Try and get more people involved. I think that's maybe our next step really, is to have that.
Yep.
To get people together. And
I
you're
agree.
thinking more of getting a flyer out?
well, I
Or
think
can the
there's gotta
flyers-
be some awareness before we ask people to come sit in a room with us. I mean, like something in the Gazette, something in their mailbox, before we're saying, come to this meeting you know nothing about. I don't think the engagement, the desire will be there, if we don't lay a foundation first
Okay.
of spreading information.
We missed the Gazette.
So, and I think the winter is a tough time for that,
Yeah.
because our population is so small and scattered. So I don't think winter is a good time to do it. I think it's a good time for us to plan, and I think getting ourselves ready for the spring and start doing things starting in May and forward is
I do
to
think,
capture the best audience.
I do think though that the year-round people are the ones that are the most interested in it. And so the people that are here in the off season, this is the best time for us to talk to them. And they're the ones, I think, that are the most important part of the audience.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just thinking they're difficult to get in a room this time of year. A lot of people are traveling.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people in the room. I mean, evening.
Next Gazette, well, there was just a deadline 2 weeks ago, so I suppose it won't be for a couple of months this time of year.
Yeah.
Right.
So it would be probably maybe end of January, first part of February.
I don't think we'll have anything ready for the next Gazette, but
Well,
we can get the
I mean,
dates from
I
Evan.
feel like that gives us time to organize what we want to say to the community
I agree.
then.
Yeah.
And
I think
then
we meet
maybe.
once a month, so that's 4 or 5 times from now till spring that we would have a conversation, and that's not a lot.
And so not this Gazette, that there was just the deadline that's gonna come out, but maybe for the next one, we could have an idea and someone who's a good writer, that is not me, it could develop like a letter to the community in there, and then maybe we put a little blurb in there every time there's a Gazette, like, here's what we've been doing. Here's what we want to hear from our community.
Yeah, and we put a couple of those in there and with the date of us potentially meeting in the spring and just
Yeah.
pick a date and say, we're gonna meet this day, and you're just kind of chiming in between that.
Right, every Gazette.
Because by then,
and there's
yeah.
something,
Yep, you've
It's an
built up
update.
momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Nielsen,
Cyberspace.
do you have anything to add? With any of?
I'm not sure. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just think this wonderful discussion and thank you all for the great ideas. I 100% agree that starting off with some articles in the Gazette are going to begin to bring awareness of the committee and what its goals are. And it'll help open some doors to some people that we're going to need to have expertise in. As was mentioned before, we need people who are finance people that can explain, well, how do we know how to build homes, we know how to make a lot ready for a home, but how do we do this financing part of it? So yeah, I'm all for that.
Great, well, I think that let's plan then to look at meeting in January for an extended time. Do one of the Saturdays, I can check with Penelise and then email you to see if any of those would work
Great.
with her.
Sounds
And then but we'll look to that. And I think it's then if we can take next month and you all can look through the existing files, and I'll make sure that Dorjean, I think that there's a Google Drive that they can put everything on.
Okay.
So everybody should be able to access everything. And I'll see about getting that set up. And then in January, come ready for a new year with ideas and new direction. Some of the same direction, but hopefully a little more focus. So. And,
Okay, thanks, everyone. I have to go. I have a work meeting to attend at 6. So good
Okay.
conversation. See you next month.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
Bye,
Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, so is there any other unfinished business? And we have no public, we have public comment. So
a lot of the things that were on the agenda are things that we'll have to discuss and look at. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's worth take the time to go over any of them right now,
Yep,
whether it's tiny homes or rental home. Whatever.
so December will be a self-study month. And then January we'll plan for a meeting. And with that, I will.
Just a minute, I just, because we were really clear, we want next steps, so I just want to make sure what those next steps are. That we're studying the information, you're gonna send out all the information that you've
The-
gathered.
I'll bring the stick to Dorjean and have her put those documents on a Google Drive for everybody to access.
Okay.
And then, any other, I think I forwarded articles that I thought were pertinent directly, and I will also see about just getting stuff put on a Google Drive so we all can access
Mhm.
the same data and information.
Right, like,
And
and
then-
then just have a folder.
Yeah,
And then Michael is going to dig up that information sheet that he referenced.
And
Earlier.
If Michael doesn't have it, John or Mark has.
Otherwise, I feel like that should be something we should come to January with having.
Mark, do you know, is that called an or Jim?
RFP.
RFP? Is that what I'm looking for? Because
I'm not necessarily talking about RFP. I'm talking about,
Right, that's a lot more detailed than what
yeah,
they had. This is something they took down with them to the contractors, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, it had like, we have the land, we're looking at putting in sewer, water, electrical.
There was nothing on that sheet that we don't all already know.
it's not about us, it's about the community. We need something to present to the community.
No, not the point. The point is, we can make our own just as easily as we can try and hunt down another one.
Then let's
It
do
isn't-
that.
It's not.
Let's have that be a next step for
it's not
January.
Rocket science.
So I'm happy to work on it. I want this done.
Great.
Anybody else want to help?
I'll help you.
Because I feel like if we just start bouncing something back and forth, like, we're getting it closer.
Yeah,
Should we have a December meeting?
No, I think it's fine to have it ready by January.
Okay,
Totally. I want us to have some direction of what we're working towards while we're doing this. And if we're looking at all this information, we might as well be categorizing it and making it into an outline that we present to people. I mean, otherwise we're going to be having this conversation again in January.
Agreed.
Go nuts.
you were suggesting to get together with other people.
No, I'm saying like, as that information starts coming in, I can volunteer myself. I'm going to start going through and just, what would I share with the public? What would I want this public to know about this
That's what we
project?
should all do.
Right, so if we come in January, it's kind of like, what are your bullet points? What should be on this one page informational?
well, and
Summary.
the other piece that I've just wondered about is that I know we've identified the property between the fire hall and the dump. And there's a lot of clearing that would need to be done before anything could start. So it seems like the site prep would take quite a while, but,
Yeah.
A month
what's that?
to clear it out for where you get it.
Well,
Yeah, that's-
you want to keep the trees.
Why do you mention that?
Well, I'm just trying to get a timeline of what we need to do when and how that, how to, it's a lot more exciting when you're looking at a house to see a site and see it.
But we're not gonna do any of that until we get some money.
Yeah,
Right,
So
right.
let's concentrate on
No,
getting.
I just was
Yeah.
wondering more about the timing of.
I don't think we can even put a marker on that.
We get $80 million, we can start tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Yeah,
only get
the money determines
$73.
timeline.
Yeah,
It's,
Okay, so
Can I ask?
That's good.
If the two of you, Sam and Lois, if you're gonna work on that outline
Mhm.
from the information that's gonna be available, can that be an available document that,
Mhm.
like a
it'll
working
be, yep,
document that we can all see
Yep.
as it goes along? And if, maybe you don't want to give us editing, but if you wanted to give us like comment rights,
is everyone familiar with how Google Doc works?
yes.
So-
I am.
Right, well, I figured at the school, but you can have a living document and you can see every time one of us goes in there, if we're in there, you can leave comments on the side, they live there in perpetuity. It's a completely living document, and that's how I would intend to do it. And-
Yeah, like you two would have editing rights And the rest of us could have comment rights.
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
is what I'm thinking, because I don't want
And
anyone to go in and
notifications.
be able to, like, I don't want to accidentally erase something that you put in, you know?
Sure.
So like, I don't want the editing rights. I only want to be able to comment on it.
Yeah. And I think that's how all documents we're creating, like the Allen Gazette article, when we get to that point, should be as well, as we should all be, you know. So getting this Google Doc set up is, I think, mission critical.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the next step then too.
Mark?
Could we date, I'm gonna leave, but could we pick next
You're
meeting?
breaking up.
You're breaking up. We can't,
Now you're frozen.
yeah.
Could we pick a date?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to check with
How's that?
Penelise to see if there was a date that was
All
preferable
right,
for
why
her.
don't
So,
you just,
but we're looking at one of the Saturdays
we'll
in
just
January.
wait for an email from you then.
Yes,
Should we just wait for an email from you?
yeah, I'll contact Penelise tomorrow. Oh, we lost you.
We could also just schedule our monthly meeting for January and have that as a placeholder,
That's fine.
you know,
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
just,
Who
Yeah.
knows?
yeah.
yeah.
So might as well
So that
have
would
that.
be January 14th. For.
Do we do
Wednesday?
Thursdays or?
Or Thursday, I'm sorry. Why am I thinking Wednesday? Yeah, the 15th.
So I would hope that we'll see an email from you about, are you working on getting your ideas together, and especially when you hear back from Penelise and give us a date for that, but.
Yeah.
I think it would help just to have something from you in a couple of weeks. You know, don't forget that during December,
Right.
what we're supposed to be doing,
Agreed.
because it's
Mhm,
easy
mhm,
to
mhm.
just kind of wait and, oh
No, I mean, I know that next month, we've got the
yeah, there's a lot going on.
Christmas event and our meeting would fall on the night when then we'd have the dress rehearsal and I'm involved, so I know that I'll kind of, we have to be there.
I think what he's saying though, is just like for you to remind us that this is what we're doing
Yeah,
to keep the
Well,
momentum.
Yeah, like, you know, December 11th, when we would typically have our meeting, just
Yeah,
reminder.
yep,
Yeah, that would be a very good time to. In lieu of our meeting.
You better be reading.
Get your reading done.
yeah. Great, with that, if there's no business, I will call this meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Or do I need to?
Yeah, don't
I
we need
can't
a
remember
motion?
which.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank God.
Make a motion.
All right. Thanks,
second.
everybody.
I
Have a
second
great
that
evening.
motion.
We're adjourned.
Yeah, for the record.